On a clear winter day in Tokyo, the air around Kanda Myojin felt charged with promise and renewal. The shrine, steeped in history, became a meeting point between tradition and a new generation stepping forward. 6 young women from AKB48 stood together, each carrying her own story, her own dreams, and her own quiet determination. They had gathered to mark the moment of turning 20, a milestone that in Japan carries deep cultural meaning. This was not just a ceremony about age, but about responsibility, growth, and looking ahead. Smiles mixed with nervous excitement as they entered the sacred grounds. The sound of footsteps echoed softly, as if time itself was paying attention. Each member wore an expression that balanced youth with maturity. For them, this day symbolized a bridge between who they were and who they were becoming. The year ahead was linked to the image of the horse, a sign associated with strength and forward motion. That symbolism felt fitting for artists who have spent years running toward their goals. In celebration of this theme, a long-established sake brewery from Niigata lent its support. More than 3 centuries of craftsmanship stood quietly behind a single moment of hope. The act performed that day had never been done before at an AKB48 coming-of-age event. A ceremonial barrel was opened, the wooden lid lifted with care and meaning. The sharp, clean sound marked a fresh beginning. It was not about alcohol alone, but about sharing fortune and intention. For the first time, members who had reached 20 were allowed to taste sake as part of the ritual. There was surprise, laughter, and honest curiosity. One member spoke of how gentle and approachable the flavor felt. Another nodded, as if discovering adulthood one sip at a time. Their reactions were natural, unpolished, and real. Behind those smiles was the weight of a group's long history. AKB48 had recently crossed the threshold of 20 years as an institution. That anniversary had been celebrated on a legendary stage, together with graduates who shaped earlier eras. Standing beside those legends left a powerful impression. The contrast between generations was inspiring, but also challenging. It revealed just how high the standard truly is. Some felt admiration so deep it almost hurt. Others felt a quiet frustration, the kind that pushes a person to improve. One member spoke openly about wanting to surpass those who came before. Not out of disrespect, but out of love for the path they paved. Another expressed a wish for stronger individuality within the group. She imagined a future where members clash creatively, sharpening one another. The idea was not conflict, but growth through intensity. A different member recalled the shock of sharing a stage with alumni. What once seemed like a distant dream suddenly became reality. That realization brought gratitude, but also self-reflection. She noticed the differences in presence, experience, and confidence. Those differences became lessons rather than barriers. Feeling left behind, she chose to transform regret into motivation. She spoke of carrying what she learned into the group's next chapter. The upcoming single represented another turning point. Being selected for the first time was both an honor and a responsibility. It meant stepping into the spotlight with awareness. It meant understanding that every action now shapes the group's future. At 20, their words carried more weight than before. Yet they did not pretend to have all the answers. Instead, they embraced uncertainty as part of growth. The shrine bore witness to their vows, spoken softly but sincerely. These were not grand declarations, but steady promises. Promises to work harder, to learn faster, and to stay true. Promises to respect the past without being bound by it. As the ceremony came to a close, the atmosphere felt lighter. The future stretched ahead, wide and unpredictable. 6 young women walked forward, not as children anymore. They carried tradition on their backs and possibility in their hands. Their journey was far from finished. In many ways, it was only just beginning.